All right. Well, we have a huge blockbuster to unpack here to talk about. We're going to talk about all the fantasy fallout. So let's start with just big picture, the details of the trade. Everyone probably knows this by now, but we'll just reset it. It was heading to the Jazz, Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, 2022 first-round pick, Ochai Agbaji, 3 future first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps going from the Cavs to the Jazz for a guy by the name of Donovan Mitchell. First of all, just reactions. I want to hear your reactions to what the Jazz got for Mitchell, Raph. What were your thoughts on this return?
I thought they got a good return here. Much was made about what Danny Ainge was looking for in terms of draft capital. You get 3 unprotected firsts and then 2 swaps in there. So 5 total first-round picks that they're going to have some sort of control over. So that's really good. You get a promising rookie in Ochai Agbaji. You can pair him up with Walker Kessler, kind of use those guys as early building blocks in this rebuild. Colin Sexton's probably the interesting thing for me. I think he gained the most from a fantasy standpoint in this trade. But the question is, even though Utah gave him the deal to facilitate this trade, $72 million over 4 years, how convinced are they that he could potentially be another building block for them down the line? Lauri Markkanen, he showed promise. I thought he played well in Cleveland last season. Injuries have been an issue for him at times, so we'll see what he can give them there. But you get 3 players under 25 or younger, 5 draft picks. I think you have to like that for the return they got from Mitchell.
Yeah, and Steve, I want to hear your thoughts in just a second. And we are going to get into, the outlook, the fantasy outlook for some of those guys you mentioned, Sexton, Markkanen, Agbaji, on and on. But Steve, your reaction is just big picture to the trade first.
Big picture for the trade. I think, one, that was a lot. That was a lot to pay for Donovan Mitchell, right? 2, Utah now looks like Oklahoma City Junior. They're collecting first-round draft picks. They're not done yet either because Mike Conley probably is not there for the long haul. Who else?
Bojan Bogdanovic, you'd have to think. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, Bojan Bogdanovic. Also, I think it might be Nickeil Alexander-Walker's birthday, Matt. I'm not sure. I think I saw something on Twitter about that last night.
Well, I'm gonna dive into that while you keep talking.
Also, on the Cleveland side of things, I kind of love this trade for both teams. Like the Cavaliers have 4 really good starters now. Like they're going to be a really good team in the East. And then Utah's got all this youth and all these draft picks. So I like it for both teams. It was really an expensive trade. But, the only problem I see is that Cedi Osman there's still a Cedi pill possibly in the starting lineup. And I don't think you want a Cedi pill in the middle of one of the most dynamic teams in the East.
I cannot wait until week 4 rolls around. For some reason, we're adding Cedi Osman off waivers, but we'll get into all that. Let's start with the Mitchell side of this and the Cavs side of this. So he goes to Cleveland, Raph. We'll be playing alongside Darius Garland. Do you think Mitchell and Garland can, maintain something close to their numbers from last year now that they're playing together? Do you worry about, both guys' usage taking a hit here? What's your outlook for those 2 star guards in Cleveland?
I think usage-wise, they're both bound to take a hit just because they both had the ball in their hands so much last season. I think it was Kevin Pelton of ESPN who noted this, but Cleveland ranked 21st in the league in terms of pick and roll actions per 100 possessions. I think that's going to go up significantly here, where you have Mitchell who can play off the pick and roll. I think Garland's going to be more capable of doing so as he continues to improve throughout his career. So I think we'll see more of that. They're both going to have the ball in their hands plenty. You've got Jared Allen, you've got Evan Mobley. I think Mobley and Allen could be worth watching defensively. We already were watching them, but because you have 2 undersized guards in that starting backcourt, there's going to be a bit more on them than that 5th starter spot. I think you have to lean Isaac Okoro. He hasn't done much offensively, but what he brings defensively may be what pushes him over, say, a Karis LeVert for that 5th starter spot.
Steve, Donovan Mitchell was 24th in 9 category leagues this past season, around 26 points, 4 boards, 5 assists. Darius Garland was number 37 in 9 category leagues, around 22 points, 8.5 assists. Do you take the under on the points and assists for both guys? How much do you downgrade either or both in fantasy, if at all?
Not much. I mean, Garland concerns me a little bit more than Mitchell. I think Mitchell's going to be the alpha dog here. I think just because he's been in the league longer, he's the guy. But Garland got to play the whole season last year without Colin Sexton for the most part, and he was kind of out there by himself in that backcourt. And Ike Okoro was playing a lot of minutes alongside him, and he didn't have the ball in his hands. He's not really an offensive threat. So it's going to be weird for Garland, I think. And this reminds me a little bit. I was talking to somebody locally about the Atlanta Hawks with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young trying to play together. And, one of my buddies, Daniel, said, well, I was excited about it at first, but now I'm kind of worried about it. Like now I'm starting to stress about how DeJounte and Trae Young are going to function together. And I mean, we could say the same thing about Cleveland, but in today's NBA, I think the more studs you have and the more positions you have, everybody will just adjust and move forward. So maybe downgrade those guys, a couple spots. But Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are both going to get theirs.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think I might look at Darius Garland's, almost 22 and 9 from last year and say, can this guy really get 9 assists again now that he's playing with Mitchell? But like you said, I mean, I don't think I'm going to move him dramatically down or anything like that. Maybe I envision more like 7.5 assists than 8.5, but he's still a stud. And, don't overthink it in all of the cases we just mentioned. Mitchell, Garland, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray. I mean, don't overthink it. As for the rest of this Cavs team, for me, not a lot of questions when it comes to Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, who we already mentioned. I feel like their roles are pretty solidified. I think the big fantasy remaining spot of intrigue is small forward. Now, we obviously talked about Cedi Osman already. Raph, you already mentioned Okoro. I mean, the Cavs were playing that big lineup with Markkanen at the 3. That's obviously gone now. We'll talk about Markkanen in a minute. But who's the fantasy guy here, Raph? Is it potentially Karis LeVert coming off the bench, who's the 5th most relevant fantasy guy on this roster?
That's what I think, just because he brings the most to the table offensively in terms of ability to score and make plays. Okoro, we're still waiting for his jump shot to come around. That really hasn't happened to this point.
What year is this? Year 3 now?
Year 3.
Okay.
This is year 3. But defensively, I think he offers the most. Like I said earlier, when you're playing a smaller backcourt, the defensive ability of that three man is of utmost importance. So I think it's going to be him. I know Cedi Osman had his moments, but I have a hard time believing that he's going to beat out either LeVert or Okoro for that 5th starter spot.
There's somehow just no stopping Cedi Osman, Steve, from 1 to 8 weeks of relevance every season.
Well, our depth charts, which I don't think have really been scrubbed clean since the deal went down, have Cedi in there. But I kind of think that we could see the return of Karis LeVert this year. I'm with Roth. Like, let's not forget that last year in Brooklyn, he was 18.5. Well, that was only 12 games. But he was traded from Brooklyn to Indy. He averaged 18.5 in Brooklyn. He averaged 20.7 points in Indy in 2020 and 21. That was in 35 games. So he was over 20 points. He was about 5 boards, 5 assists. Like, he was a really good player before he got hurt. He got hurt. We didn't see him for a long time. He's come back. He got traded again to Cleveland. So I think we might see the return of Karis LeVert this year to form, where he could score, somewhere around 17 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, if he's in that starting lineup, which I think, given what we've seen out of the Cedi bill over the last 3 years, I don't know anyone in the Cleveland organization that would think starting Osman would be a great idea at this point. So hopefully Karis LeVert is in there at small forward.
I'd like him better fantasy-wise if he was a 6th man.
Interesting.
Because, you got Garland, you got Mitchell. Those guys are going to have high usage numbers.
Right.
Mobley, Allen, LeVert, wouldn't he kind of be a catch-and-shoot guy in that 5th starter role? And I kind of worry about that when it comes to his fantasy value if he's placed in that position, as opposed to them saying, all right, you and Kevin Love anchor the 2nd unit, go get yours. I would like him a lot more fantasy-wise if that were the case and if he were starting.
Interestingly, he's in a similar spot like to Bogdan Bogdanović with the Hawks, where, now they added a big name in the backcourt, and Bogdan's probably coming off the bench as well, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, like you said, Raph, for the fantasy outlook.
Yeah, I mean, any fantasy value that LeVert has this season is going to be a pleasant surprise, just because it's been a lost couple of years. So, but yeah, I could see that. I could see him being a focal point of the second unit and actually having more value that way. But I think just, man, if the Cavaliers were to roll him and Mitchell and Garland and Mobley and Allen out there at the same time, it would be pretty impressive. And let's not, even though they're different positions, Mobley and Jared Allen together in the front court this season should be really fun. And pick and roll is going to be a huge thing in Cleveland going forward, I think.
Well, and we still love Evan Mobley, right? Fantasy-wise, nothing really changes there. Yeah, I mean, for his potential, I don't think, with the arrival of
And
Mitchell.
Jared Allen was a monster last year before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And we assume that Mitchell will pass to Jared Allen. Like we think that he will pass to his center in Cleveland.